just. Oh boy. Dick Henning told me that weddings don't require humor, but memorial services do. So I guess the system over here is helping me with that. Anyway, again, I just say take a minute to see how connected you are to so many people in this room and how much Roy had a part of that. Because a few of you I look at, it makes me cry to say that, but we all do know that. He was a great convener. He was a great community builder. That's why we're here. We're honored to, we are gathered to honor and remember Roy, the greatest community builder that we've known. Look around and you see a small part of the community that he's built for us. We wouldn't, well, I already told you that, we wouldn't be standing here without him. Many of us would not know one another if he had not convened a meeting or 10 meetings. He admired and advocated for the ideas of John Gardner, whom many of you have heard referred to. Do we have a bird? Oh well. Gardner said members of a good community deal with one another humanely, they respect individual differences, and value the integrity of every person. A good community fosters an atmosphere of cooperation and connectedness. There is recognition and thanks for hard work and an awareness by the members that they need one another. There's a sense of belonging and identity, a spirit of mutual responsibility. There is the altruism that is so consistently urged by major world religions. There's trust and tolerance and loyalty, and all those things speak to Roy Lave. There's room for mavericks, nonconformists, and dissenters, or I probably wouldn't be standing here. There are no outcasts. Obviously, this describes an ideal community, perhaps beyond our reach. The best communities we know have a long way to go. But even the approximation of such an environment is powerfully rewarding to individuals and can counteract the tendency of members to drift away that afflicts so many American communities today. That's all from John Gardner. When Roy founded the Los Altos Community Foundation, he used Gardner's book on building community. We read various passages over the 20 years, many, many times, and created a lot of groups out of that philosophy that John Gardner had. So after that seriousness, for just a little bit of housekeeping, I'll tell you about a few things. If you get up, you can go in the other room and look at scrapbooks, more photos. There's a big poster over there that says, I want you to build community with Roy as Uncle Sam, which we've seen so many times. But you can stand there and take a selfie or ask someone to take a picture of you. And then Jill would like you to hashtag remembering Roy and post that photo so that we can all see one another's photos. I won't tell you, she also said that you need to ask a child or grandchild how to do that. So that's that sign. Be sure you have a pin. Pin says we build community. We'd love it if you'd wear that and remember Roy as you try to build community better in his memory. There's a box in either room right out in this first area and also over where the scrapbooks are where you can write out a memory. There are many, many people who would like to tell their particular story about Roy and what he's meant to them, but we can't allow you all to do that because we wouldn't be home tonight. So there are 6 people who are representing different aspects of his life, and we'd like you to write your memory on a card and put it in the box so that the family can enjoy it later. Also, talk to each other. Talk about the stories of Roy and what he meant to you. They go wrong. I remembered all the things I've been told to tell you. Just a second. Oh, there's a beautiful guest book put together by Jill, and it's out on the table. Please sign it again so the family can enjoy the fact that you were here, even if they didn't have a chance to see you. The photo op stories, guest book, pen, and the memory card. I think I've got my list. A couple of days after Roy died, when a young Rotarian called me, it's Herb Marshall, and I don't know if Herb's here, he probably would like to be, but Herb said to me, you know, Roy brought out the best in everybody. And I can attest to that. I did my best work for Roy as a community volunteer. I don't think I would have had anywhere near the life in this community without his inspiration and willingness to convince me that I could do what I didn't know I could do. And I think that experience is spread by many. So I'm going to now switch a little bit to the Rotary AIDS Project, which was a big part of Roy's life and mine. That's probably the place that I first got to know him. Roy's been a member of the Los Altos Rotary Club for 50 years. The two other members of the club who have been here for 50 years are Joe Renati, who is sitting over there raising his hand in the blue shirt. Hi, Joe. Dick Henning, who is in that beautiful poker shirt, sitting back there with his hand up. He's in the back row. He might have served a glass of wine. And Roy. Now there are two of them that have been there for 50 years. When Dude Angus stood up and said that his son had AIDS and he was hoping that we would do a project about AIDS, I went and spoke to him and ended up chairing a committee that met every week. Roy started coming to the meetings, and we thought that was wonderful. It was 10 years later, after he had been converted and gone to every meeting, that he told us he had been sent to see what we were up to. And to make sure that we weren't going too far outside the line. He just joined us in going too far out the line. Roy also, within the Rotary Club, was president in 91 and 92. He was on the RAP task force from 1989 to 2000, a Lave trustee. He was on the art show committee. He served breakfast to the artists for 20 plus years. He was with World Community Service. And all this stuff just sometimes sounds like lines in the book, but Roy also went beyond that. When Roy felt like people were lonely at Christmas and the club went dark, we didn't have a meeting, he started a meeting at Chef Chu's. Chef Chu is here also, and I don't know where you are, Lawrence, but I know you're here. There he is. Anyway, we had satellite, they were not satellite meetings, we had holiday meetings at Chef Chu's for people who may be alone on the holidays. And maybe it was only a handful of people, but Roy took the time to have those meetings every year so that people were not alone during Christmas or whatever holiday they were celebrating. So I worked with Roy on the original board of the Bank of Los Altos Tomorrow, the Community Foundation, and RAP. I was the only woman on many of those boards because it just happened to be the right age to be the only woman on those boards. And Roy had the courage, and I call it courage, to befriend me and not treat me like a houseplant sitting at the table, which is sometimes what happens, and to believe that I might have talent to lend to the table in addition to just fulfilling the need to be a woman at the table. So I will be forever grateful for that. So, pardon me, drumming. It's a big job. Thank you, Kevin. What would I do without you? Anyway, so we're going to move on to a few speakers, and the first of those is longtime friend of Roy's, Dennis Young. And we've forgiven him for publishing when the gathering was from 4:30 to 6.
I'm the
Stop there.
the stop here, that's true. I'm in the corner office. This Roy. I first met Roy in the summer of 1970. He's why I was able to raise my two sons in this wonderful community that he helped build. He actually hired me through a mutual friend to work in his transportation consulting company while I was a graduate student at Santa Clara University. And he paid me such a ridiculous salary that the following year my family was able to move to Los Altos. Roy was an engineer, but I would always forget that Roy was an engineer because he wasn't a typical engineer. He thought like an engineer, but it wasn't all numbers. he had the ability to always inject humanity into his thinking. To him, working on a project included connecting with all the diverse stakeholders that were involved, that were going to be affected by the project. As I look back, Roy had the amazing talent to get you to do something you really didn't want to do. And then you thank him for letting you do it. I look back and go, how do you do that? Roy was a scholar. He was a tenured professor at Stanford. He was a businessman. He had a very successful international consulting, transportation consulting business. When I first joined Sistan, we were going to grow a major company. That was the goal. Well, it worked. Except the bigger it got, the more administrative duties Roy had to do. He didn't like administrative duties. He wanted to work on the projects. So we shrunk it back down so he could work on those projects. Because he cared about the people that were going to be affected by those projects and the people that were working on those projects. And these were all over the world. We're talking South America, the Middle East, Europe. Sistan designed the highway that goes from Rio de Janeiro to Brasilia, the capital. He was directly involved in that. Roy cared a lot about the people, and his work reflected his desire to make things better. And I miss Roy. Roy had the unique ability in everything he did to understand the present situation and then see the alternative paths going forward and how those alternatives, all those decisions would affect what was going on. And he cared a lot about people, and he cared about making things better. Roy had a unique ability to do these things. He loved Los Altos. He cared about Los Altos and the people in Los Altos. And the results of that caring are all around us today. As Mary said, Hillview, this community center, wouldn't be here if the council hadn't purchased this property while Roy was on the council. The Community Foundation, the Neutra House next to the Community Foundation at the end of this parking lot. The parks, some of the parks that we have. These are all things that we take for granted in Los Altos that really have a direct effect in moving. I'm losing my paper. I don't know. Others are going to talk about other aspects. But I will always cherish the man who mentored me for more than 50 years. Roy and I didn't always agree. Yeah, that's all right, cool people. Roy and I didn't always agree. That's the wrong page. Promise. We didn't always agree, as I said. Come away from our discussions knowing more and seeing more other sides of the topic. For example, in the nonprofit world, Community Foundation, Roy felt an endowment fund was a luxury. He wanted to work on a project that needed addressing now, and there were always plenty of them. He didn't want to put money away for a maybe that might happen down the road sometime. I could go on, time's limited, I used my 3 minutes. I miss Roy. We all miss Roy, and all of us are better off because he was among us.
Rolling pen. So Penny requested loose with a sprinkling of humor, and I think Dennis helped us along with that. Our next speaker will be Arnie Croce. Many of you who have been around a while remember that Arnie was our city manager in the 80s.
Yes.
He started as a teenager, actually.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you. It is wonderful to be here in Los Altos, and it really is an honor to say a few words about the remarkable life. If I can keep these from blowing away. I first met Roy and Penny when Carol and I moved our family to Los Altos in 1984. I was the new young city manager, and Roy had just recently turned out as a council member. Already in 1984, Roy was an acknowledged community activist and leader, having served 2 terms on the Los Altos City Council, including a 2-year term as mayor. And he was the one and only Uncle Sam at the 1976 celebration.
Will that work? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Those phones are good for paperweights. Over the years, Roy had a hand in many of the features that are enjoyed today in Los Altos. And knowing Penny as a councilwoman during my years, she was always supporting Roy. I look back over the life and career of Roy, one word comes to mind. You're going to sense that theme today, and that word is community. Community was a thread that ran through the life and career of Roy Lave. Building community, preserving community, enhancing community, sustaining community, serving community. Roy built community as a founder of the Los Altos Tomorrow, later to become the Los Altos Community Foundation, and he served as the volunteer executive director for 21 years. He also helped found the Bank of Los Altos, Heritage Bank. Roy preserved community by working for the preservation of Los Altos buildings and historical sites, including the DeMartini House and Richard Neutra houses. Unfortunately, Roy lost the battle for the downtown movie theater. But maybe that's something that the community can pick up on and forward. We're having some discussions with Roy about that. Enhance community through his efforts to secure the purchases of Redwood Grove, Heritage Oaks, and the Hillview Community Center, the site we're standing on today. Roy sustained community by playing a leading role in the success of the Los Altos Stage Company, Bus Barn Theater, Los Altos Stories, and many, many philanthropic activities and endeavors. And Roy served community as a member of the city's General Plan Advisory Committee, as a member mayor for the city of Los Altos, as the Santa Clara County representative to the Metropolitan Transportation Commission, and as you've heard, as a loyal member and past president of the Los Altos Rotary Club. Roy Lave and community are synonymous. Although few of us have the drive, insight, and dedication of Roy, we can all honor his memory and legacy by serving the community in our own meaningful way. Volunteer at a community event for a local school or local nonprofit. Financially support community serving organizations. Advocate for a need in the community. All of these would make Roy proud. Together, we can continue Roy's tradition of building community and making the world a better place and enhancing Los Altos. This is the legacy of Roy Lave. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Arnie. We enjoyed your time when you were here. It's nice to have you visit. So now, I'm going to move to Supervisor Joe Simidian, who tells me he did not get the 3-minute warning. So be prepared. He says, maybe you told my office, but you didn't tell me.
I was mindful of that during Mary's 10-minute introduction. It was said with affection and respect. And where did Arnie just, you know, you can tell when someone is no longer the manager of Los Altos when they invoke the notion of a downtown theater. Otherwise risky stuff, but Thank you to Penny and the family for including me today. I want to begin actually by referencing a piece in the Town Crier about a year and a half ago that announced that Roy and Penny had been named Citizens of the Year. But that same piece also revealed something I did not know, and I'm going to quote here, that speaking of Roy and Penny, the two met in 1958 at a student government convention while attending the University of Michigan. And, you know, I have to tell you, when I read it, my immediate reaction was, well, of course they did. I mean, what could be more romantic? And you know, truth be told, almost always when I think of Roy, I think of Penny and Roy. A really magnificent contribution of separate and together selves. And if you are of a certain age, and looking around the room, many are, you will recall that there was a period when every other wedding you went to involved a verse or two from Khalil Gibran, the Lebanese poet, and the prophet, which some loved, others did not. And as I say, it was more often than not referenced at weddings rather than memorials or celebrations of life. But Gibran in the prophet exhorts couples to stand together, yet not too near together. For the pillars of the temple stand apart, and the oak tree and the cypress grow not in each other's shadow. And Gibran calls on loving couples to let there be space in your togetherness. And so throughout the years, that's how I came to see and think of Roy and Penny. Together, but as separate and distinct individuals. And in the context of today's remembrance, I am mindful of Gibran's assurance to such couples, you shall be together when the white wings of death scatter your days. So as I say, I think of Roy as separate, certainly, but always together with Penny. Now, while almost everyone who has spoken has referenced Roy as a man of his community, he was, of course, a real-life, flesh and blood human being. And in my experience through the years, he was accomplished, but never braggadocious. Just wasn't him. He was opinionated, but open-minded. He was, I would say, proper, appropriate, but totally approachable. And I think I might even say he was a little old school, but he was always looking to the future whenever he and I talked. Now, as the Los Altons in the crowd will surely know, you really cannot walk a neighborhood in this community without Roy's thoughtful touch and evidence in some way. You've already heard the references. I mean, just literally within yards of where we are seated and standing, this community center, the bus barn, Los Altos stage. Got that in for you, Vicki.
Thank you.
The Neufer House has been referenced. The community house, soon to be appropriately named the Roy Lave Community House. And of course, the foundation itself. Ripple after ripple, turning into wave after wave across the entire community and beyond. And I just want to share with you just a few, less than a handful of the many ways in which Roy, I saw it from the county perspective. You know, I know you all think of Roy as the Los Altos guy, but at the county level, he was serving on MTC, as Arnie mentioned earlier, the Metropolitan Transportation Commission. He served on the North County Library Authority, served on the Stanford Lands Community Resource Group, the Sister County Commission for Moscow County. And I mentioned those select, and they really are just a fraction, because if you just take a quick moment and think about them, land use, transportation, libraries, international affairs, it gives you a sense of the depth and breadth of Roy's interests and talents. And the phrase Renaissance man is perhaps overused, but not in Roy's case. So the thing about Roy that I noted was that whenever he and I talked, whenever I saw him in action, he was the guy who wanted to do something, not just to be somebody. And we need more of that. He just wanted, as others have already said, to build and sustain a sense of community. I wasn't surprised that if you open today's program, the phrase building community is literally on the first page in the first paragraph. I was a little surprised it was in the second sentence somehow, but it was right there. And I want to reinforce an earlier theme here, which is that communities don't just happen. They have to be built. And they are built one relationship at a time. Our friend Roy knew that, and he did it. He built a sense of community for all of us. He did it one relationship at a time. Which compels me to ask, as we celebrate Roy's life here today, who now will step forward to do that difficult but essential work? The work of building community. Who among us will be the next Roy Lave? Now the answer, of course, is that there will never be another Roy Lave. Never. There just won't. But if each of us commits to doing the work, doing our part, giving just a fraction of what Roy gave, well then maybe collectively we can sustain the sense of community to which Roy devoted himself so fully. And wouldn't that be a fitting tribute, a lasting legacy worthy of Roy, a way to say quite tangibly, thank you, and rest in peace, Roy Lave. Thank you all very much.
I guess I have to take it back another time. Huh? All right, now our next speaker is King Lear. King is a past mayor and longtime good friend of Roy's. And he's over here in the corner, and please note he's wearing long pants today.
So thank you, Mary. I have a jacket too. I want credit that I brought a jacket. But thank you, Penny, for hosting this great celebration for Roy and for Los Altos. There's no question about it. Roy and Los Altos go together. So this is a celebration for Los Altos. And thank you for the opportunity to me to get to say some nice things about Roy. We've been celebrating Roy for years, actually. So he knew he was appreciated. And right, we're all happy about that. Ginny and I met Roy 50 years ago at a coffee for Roy and Ruth Kohler. And they were running for council, and they were also promoting a bond issue to buy parkland. The parkland issue failed, but they were elected. And on the council, they then had the city buy the parkland anyhow, like Redwood Grove, and out of reserves. And doesn't that sound familiar? I mean, look, this is exactly how this building got built, for those of you who are paying attention. There's a lesson for Ginny and I on how to get things done in Los Altos 50 years ago. Roy focused on a better future for Los Altos, and he had the necessary abilities to actually impact it. That's the point we've all been making. He learned civic responsibility at an early age, I'm sure, and that was a key to it. And that was a home for building community from John Gardner. Add courage. Early, Roy was not afraid of controversy. I helped him with that. Add charisma. Roy was fun, a natural leader, and he loved working with people. He spent time contemplating. There's a surprise, right? Thinking. Aristotle said, "He who contemplates is a happy man," and Roy was a happy man. Finally, add a penny, and you have the Roy that we all celebrate. Roy's genius was to build a consensus for action in small groups that he, in fact, convened in order to improve the community. He founded Los Altos Tomorrow to help do this. The Gay Straight Alliance Parade in 2006 is a perfect example of Roy's process and effectiveness. There was talk about doing a parade for our GSA high school students because they'd been rejected by the mayor. And we did not want our community to be represented this way. So we thought of doing a parade, but a nonprofit organization was required to sponsor the parade downtown for the city. So Roy thought the foundation could do that, but he convened the board to get a consensus for action. Some were concerned that the support would lose donors, and they were thinking maybe we shouldn't do it. After quite a bit of discussion, Steve Shepard said, "We have to do this." That was it. That was the consensus. The board was all in. The board then nominated or appointed Mary Prochnow and Henry Rue as co-chairs, and a fund was set up. The parade was a total success. Now, this is the important point. It gave people, actually in 4 cities, and they're represented here, Palo Alto, Mountain View, Los Altos Hills. It gave people in the 4 cities a reason, an opportunity to speak out in favor of the students. And they did that by being honorary co-sponsors, by being in the parade, by watching the parade, by donating to the fund for the parade. Other initiatives that were important to me and Roy was the fun run. I hope we can start that again. The Neutra House, that's the New Year's Day fun run. Downtown Theater Initiative, and Slap 'em. Slap 'em is some Los Altos past mayors. And we've had a lot of effect. That's a good group. We're still running. Watch out. So Roy's legacy is a guide to future leaders. Joe said that, and it's important. Very bright people are volunteering to serve the city and to make sure that it continues to be highly regarded as a place to live, work, shop, and dine, and watch theater. In closing, I hope I filled my 3 minutes. I don't know. I can speak slower. In closing, Roy Lave was the most important individual contributor to this city in its 71 years since incorporation. Roy contributed his time and abilities for his 59 years to make Los Altos a community, not just an address. On a personal note, Roy was a great friend, and we miss him every day. Thank you.
Thanks so much, King. So it's Jill's turn. Roy's daughter Jill, who has brought you all these wonderful photos and worked very hard for the last several months.
Oh my gosh, everyone's done such a good job of keeping it together. I don't know if I can, I don't know, live up to that. Thank you, Mary. So I was thinking about what I wanted to say, and I was going to thank you all for being here on behalf of my family. However, I grew up in Los Altos, and I kind of feel like you're all my family. So to be more specific, I want to thank you on behalf of my mom and my brother and our families for being here today. We have so appreciated all the kindness and support you've given us since my dad died. Please sign the guest book.
Hold it closer.
Please sign the guest book. Fill out a card. Your thoughts have meant so much to us in the past couple months. All right, so I really wanted my 3 minutes to be funny. My dad really loved a good party. He would have loved this. And you can imagine him working the crowd, patting everyone in the back, telling a little joke. He'd get that little grin on his face, right? So what better way to remember him than to connect with friends, have a glass of wine, and share a laugh, right? I was sitting in my dad's den last night trying to think of something funny to say today, but it was kind of challenging given the situation. And then I realized I have so many memories of my dad in that room. I remember playing Monopoly with the family. Dad was always the banker, and he always won. Dad taught me how to play gin rummy. But he counted cards, and so he always won. I remember Dad yelling at Richard Nixon on the TV, and he also yelled at Gerald Ford. And he yelled at George Bush, too. And I'm sure he would have yelled at Democratic presidents, but there weren't that many Democrats in office when I was growing up. It was in that room, supervising my dad's roll-top desk, the South American pufferfish, all my dad's books, his tech-curious purchases, and his ancient poker chips, that I wrote my college thesis, also at the very last minute. I wrote my wedding vows there, also at the very last minute. So sitting there surrounded by a lifetime of memories, I understood why my dad believed so deeply in community building. Places hold both memories and possibilities. We need to create spaces that preserve the best of the past and use them as a foundation to work like hell for a better future. My dad, Roy E. Lake Jr., was a husband, son, brother, uncle, grandfather, professor, consultant, engineer, mayor, Rotarian, great gorilla, MBA, PhD, poker player, runner, tennis player, paddle tennis player, handball player, Mexican trainer, sensi, wine collector, hat collector, antique collector, questionable art collector, accomplished actor, joker, executive director, board member, snorkeler, scuba diver, wolverine, transit rider, work traveler, theater supporter, sometimes actor, committed mapper, solitaire addict, beach walker, and a rock polisher. But I think my dad most wants to be remembered as a leader who made a difference in the world by making a difference in his community, and as a friend who made a difference in our lives. Please pick up a pin and wear it proudly. It's a reminder of all the things my dad believed in. It says, we care about people, we can make a difference, we can make the world a better place, we build community. And after careful consideration and consultation with my family and my advisors, I will not be running for office at this time.
We're now going to have a little video, and I think Hank is, are you ready? Yes, Hank's ready, so it's coming. And some of this was put together by Vicki Reeder.
And oftentimes we wonder why we don't get sent to jail. We got Beamers and Mercedes, we make $1 deals. What don't we get? We don't get meals. Come from Graders, we get sandwiches from Nick's. We get chicken from the Colonel and our pizza comes from Skips and Harry's. Makes all that one run to one price of bread. What don't we get? We don't get ready. We got nothing to put on a clean white bib. We sometimes wonder what we gave up that extra rib Nothing tastes so good to us as a wonderful home cooked meal.
His ideas were quite smart, and he mostly followed through. He had many kids and grandkids and friends up the wazoo. He loved Rotary and Bus Barn, and he brought us lots of joy. Who do we miss? We miss our Roy. He got bears put up on Main Street, served as mayor, he was swell. He built a great foundation and he really did it well. He played poker with his buddies, saw all the theater's plays. Not much he missed, we give him praise. There was nothing he wouldn't put on a fancy suit for.
There was no good cause he wouldn't help recruit for.
There was no one like Roy Lave, no one in the world. He deserves a special rave. Oh, the very best was Roy Lave. We feel sadness, we feel blue, we will always miss the guy. We got every kind of feeling, but our memories get us by. We admire all his good deeds that he did around this hood. He helped us grow, yeah, he did good.
Lots of guys in life are wonderful, but brother,
There is one particular guy that is nothing whatsoever in any way, shape, or form like any other. There was no one like Roy Lave, no one in the world. He deserves a special rave. Oh, the very best was Roy Lave. No one else was like Roy. Each good cause needed Roy. Like fun games did our Roy. Like the Danes did our Roy. No one worked like our Roy. Didn't shirk like our Roy. We're gonna sing this song to everyone here. We all felt better when Roy was near. The friendly community, mindedly, fabulous Roy.
And that was put together by Rod Sinks and Mickey Reader. If you want more of that, they still have Follies tickets available. There's some out there. Thank you again, everyone. And remember what Joe said. The best tribute we can pay Roy is to find a way to carry forward to make a better community, whether in our homes, our sports team, whether it involves local or national politics, or your Rotary Club, or just your book club. Whatever you can do to reach across the aisle, we are the only ones who can make this world better. So let's go out and do it in Roy's honor. Thank you so much. Don't forget to sign the book. Don't forget to sign against book, please. Make memories in the box. Pick up a pin. There are many pins in baskets. Okay, thank you again. On the book, sign the beautiful. This meeting is over.
Your name's gonna be on there. It is up there already. Yeah. Have to be on.
Let me be a dreamer, let me float. I can see the whole world from my own little cloud up by the Milky Way. I'll stay here forever and a day. You can't pin me down. I fear all solid ground. I'd rather be alone at tea. Love when nobody's making me. Oh, boys just make me cry. Believe me, I have tried. I've made my rounds, kissed some mouths. Trust me, I don't want a single soul around. Oh, I'm giving up, I'm throwing in my hat. I can't take another lifeless little chat. my porcelain heart. No boy's gonna kill the dreamer in me. Some might call me mad, the worst this town has had. I fell right down the rabbit hole. Legends say I fell so fast I lost my soul. Oh, my melancholic days are few and far away. I've had enough, called it off. As far as I'm concerned, the switch is numb to love. Oh, I'm giving up, I'm throwing in my hat. I can't take another lifeless little chat. I'm moving up into a cloud, into my fantasy. Yeah, no boy's gonna be so smart as to try and pierce my porcelain heart. And no boy's gonna kill the dreamer in me. Yeah, no boy's gonna be so smart as to try and pierce my porcelain heart. No boy's gonna kill the dreamer in I'll never forget how stupid in love I felt. I'll always regret how I couldn't ever tell that you walked a little faster, left me behind, kissed me with somebody else in mind. I loved you so much that I settled for less. Oh, you were my everything, I was your second best. Lying awake, I'd watch as you dream at night. Nightingale singing half-hearted lullabies. With you swung me around in that midsummer dance, held me in close as you thought of your past. I love way too much, oh this hurts to confess. Oh, you were my everything, I was your second best. You've given me nothing to miss. Honestly, life has been much better since I spoke to you last. Why am I still wondering if I stand a chance? Oh, if you'd have me back. Everyone warned me you were a bad idea. I never listened, maybe I will next year. When I've walked a little further into my life, fallen in love and left you behind, but I'm still a little in love with this mess. Oh, you were my everything,
wine-stained lips. I don't want to go to sleep yet. Pale moonlight, misty eyes. I'll allow myself to have him just tonight. I hold on to every ounce of sin. I know he don't love me quite like I love him. I swear to myself as he leaves at dawn, this will end till he haunts me again. Rose perfume, low-lit room. I'll pretend you'll stay forever. Lay me down, ghostly sounds haunt the hallways as he wraps me around, and I hold on to every ounce of sin. I know he don't love me quite like I love him. I swear to myself as he leaves at dawn, this will end till he haunts me again.
Have I told you this before? Oh, I've never heard that before.
Time's moving so much slower lately. It's like the world's playing a joke, laughing at me for falling foolishly again. But something's different with you. Traffic on Sunset doesn't faze me. I'm just unusually composed. That is until I touch you and I can't pretend I lose myself again. I do. I'm all in. I'm falling. Can't get back up. Can't think right. Too tongue-tied. It must be love. Friends asking me where I've been hiding. I'm losing hours in your eyes. Lost in your wonderland, I hope I'm never found. There's no one else around tonight. I'm not so used to being happy. Now I just float down every street. You made a sappy, stupid something out of me. mind I swore I'd never be. I'm awake inside a dream. I'm all in, I'm falling, can't get back up, can't think right, too tongue tied.
You